Hey guys, welcome back to Tea with the Supremes. I'm Cass. I'm here with Jules and Ebbs, and we also have a special guest for our Sunday Spotlight, Savannah. Say hi, ladies.
Hey, Virtual Supremes. Happy
Don't be taking
Sunday.
my introduction. Don't be taking
Happy
my hello.
Sunday.
Okay, I'm
You
sorry.
see,
It
you see
is.
the
It's
hate that I
Sunday.
get over here from
You
Miss
see,
Ebony.
we
If you didn't listen
just
to our kindness episode, go back and listen.
maybe I need
Somebody
to
needs
go
a
back
lesson
and
on kindness.
listen. I didn't listen to the kindness. I'm sorry. It's Sunday. I apologize. Hello, Virtual Supremes, and to our special guest. Thanks for being back in the building. And to Jules, whatever. Ugh.
The shade between you two today.
The Sunday shade.
Yes, that part. Okay, so for today's Sunday Spotlight, I thought we would talk about seasonal affective disorder because we're at that weird transitional stage where people are not getting as much sun. We're getting a little cranky. The holidays are coming up. So I think it's important to talk about. So seasonal affective disorder is a form of depression, also known as SAD or SAD or winter depression. So people with SAD experience mood changes and symptoms similar to depression. The symptoms usually occur during the fall and winter months when there's less sunlight and usually improve with the arrival of spring. The most difficult months for people with SAD in the US tend to be January and February. While it's much less common, some people do experience this during the summer. It's a little bit more than just like the winter blues. A lot of the symptoms mirror depression, and it could cause a lot of distress and be very overwhelming and can interfere with daily functioning. So, some of the symptoms are feelings of sadness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, changes in appetite, changes in sleep, loss of energy, increase in purposeless physical activity. So, that means like a lot of fidgeting, more of the atypical behaviors, feelings of worthlessness or guilty, difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions, or it could even go as far as thoughts of death and suicide. Those are very extreme cases, but that's important to note because it is possible. So I'm curious. I have a feeling a lot of people don't think that this is a real thing. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this.
So I have this is diagnosed like in my family line. So it resonates very strongly with me. I know for the longest time, because I didn't think it was a real thing either, to be honest. And my birthday is in the fall, and for the longest time I would go into like my depression would swing have an upswing like around my birthday. And I was like, why does my birthday make me so depressed? I just correlated those two together. And that's before I realized that I have other people older than me in my family that have this. And when I started to realize that it is there's a seasonal swing and that does prompt it, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's more that and not my birth. Like I just correlated it to my birthday. I didn't correlate it to the season. So that it's called SAD. So people think it's like, ooh, you're like having a rough day, but like it's a significant shift in your mental state. And like it's very easy for your mindset to go dark without being really provoked, which is what makes it really scary, because you can see yourself kind of falling into these pits of like really dark negative thoughts that aren't really prompted by anything. So when that happens, it's harder for you to kind of switch your mindset when you got there without an event or without something really pushing you to have that mindset. So for me, I definitely believe that it's a real thing.
And that's so important to note that it's not an event that triggers this, it's just the shift in seasons. And that's very, very important because depression, it's like an umbrella. There's a whole umbrella of different mood disorders. But this is that one little niche that I think a lot of people in like the northern and midwestern states experience a little bit more than normal, if I'm correct.
Will say, just as a point to this, there is fall and winter seasonal affective disorder, and there's also summer and spring. So like it is both spectrums. It tends to be more obvious, I guess, or known with the fall and winter because people assume that people are gonna be depressed when it's freezing and stuff outside. But it does happen. I wonder, I don't know, but I wonder if in the South, where it's warm year round, if they get more of the other seasonal shift.
I will say I was one of the people that was like, are you serious? They're just coming up with something. However, if I think back to my life in criminal justice, one thing, and I think I would have gotten better at it, and I used it in education, was that we study patterns. We're trained to look and see patterns. And so when things become a secular something and it's that cycle continues, and we just say, oh, you're just in a cycle of something. Now that I'm adding a different layer of education to my toolbox, I understand that as you recognize those patterns and cycles, then there is a name for that. And people, suicides and things of that nature go up during holiday seasons and stuff like that. So recognizing those cycles and those patterns and seeking help is so important, so that even if I don't believe you as the external force, and thank goodness for growth, and I understand and see now, you must internally recognize those cycles and patterns. And I don't know if prepare yourself is the right word, but begin to prepare yourself to, maybe you need to seek additional support during this time. Maybe if you didn't know and you didn't recognize what it is, now you have a name for it. And now you can research, now you can seek out support and you can seek out help. And you have to be able to understand what your capacity is. And when you reach that capacity, then be aware of that, and then know, I need to readjust, I need to do something else. And it's not all on you to do, but you have to be able to recognize first that this is where I'm at, and this is where my mind state is, and how I move forward, shift, and adjust.
I feel like I am not one to ever discredit any type of diagnosis. I feel like how you said, Cassandra, a lot of people would say like this isn't a real thing. I don't feel like I would ever think that about any type of diagnosis, because I just feel like people being able to identify with a diagnosis just gives them validation in what they're feeling and why they're feeling it. And then they can figure out the best route for them to improve their lives. And I think when you first were talking about this disorder, I was thinking like, oh, when it's cloudy outside or something, I feel lazy, I don't feel motivated. But Julie, what you said, it's like it's a lot deeper than that, and it's like an actual deep, dark depression. So I can see how people like would discredit it and say like, oh no, like when it's cloudy outside, I don't have motivation either. But it's a lot more than that. And it's just interesting to learn that these seasonal changes can trigger that for people.
I just wanted to piggyback off Savannah. I think as a society, we know these things. We didn't know the proper name for them. We said, hey, they're having a spell today, or that's what the old people used to say around me, or something like that. So I think maybe we didn't know what it was, but we know something is happening, and something is going on. We, as those around you, you know, you recognize, we begin to go back and recognize those patterns. But we see, oh, it's that time of year, is this is going to happen, then, so now that we have a name for it, address it.
As Ebony was saying earlier, just to be proactive, right? So this is one of those things that, like, if you have it, you're more likely to know when it's going to hit you. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen every season, but you know when it's likely to. And some of the causes, there's not an exact explanation, but some of the known causes of people that are more at risk are people that are vitamin D deficient. They get a melatonin boost. So melatonin is a chemical that affects sleep patterns. So the lack of sunlight, especially if you live in the northern hemisphere, can cause it to overstimulate. So that increases your sluggishness, your sleepiness, especially during the winter. So again, like we said, northern hemisphere, places with a lot of snow, you can have a brain chemical imbalance that alters your production of serotonin, and then that compiled with your biological clock changing with the season. So all of these things can combine together to create an issue. So if you're prone to any of those things, if you know you live where it's cold, another one is negative thoughts about winter. Like, I hate winter. I despise being cold. If my knuckles get cold, it feels like they're gonna explode. I don't know. I got some nerve issues. I hate winter, and I'm planning on moving to somewhere warm where I don't have to deal with this anymore. But all of those compiled together feeds into seasonal affective disorder. So if you know those things, you can counteract them. Like, make sure that you're up on your vitamin D. There are lights that you can get that are like false sunlight to kind of keep you more balanced that way. You can monitor your melatonin. So there are things that you can do to counteract it, to be proactive. What I like to do, which I haven't been able to do because of COVID, but like, we schedule vacations in nice places, hot places in the middle of winter, so that I kind of get that kick to get me through the winter, where I'm going and I'm in the sunlight and I'm soaking in all of the heat and the, positivity to kind of like buy me time through the winter. But that's not realistic for everybody. But to the point about moving, so I'm hoping to move somewhere where it's nice year round. And I just want to make a point, because a lot of people don't realize this. You can move. There are so many people that stay where they're born and they live there forever. If there's something about where you live that's not right for you, there's a whole world out there. So if it's better for your well-being, you can pick up and move somewhere else. So there are things that you can do.
Yes, and I think it's important that you partner not only with your physician from like a blood work standpoint, because I know I'm vitamin D deficient, but also finding a trusted counselor. If you need to be medicated during those months, finding a trusted psychiatrist, because I'm sorry, I'm under the belief that family practitioners shouldn't be diagnosing and treating mental disorders, but that's a whole nother conversation within itself. But find what works for you.
I do want to say one more thing too, is just the power of self-awareness. So again, for the longest time, I didn't realize why I would be depressed in the fall. And then just getting the knowledge helped me be aware of, what do I need to be aware of? What can I do to be proactive? Because I can't change the seasons. So self-awareness, and even when you're going through it, like being aware, I feel horrible, but I feel horrible and I know the reason why I feel horrible, so I can get through this. So it's a lot of just being self-aware so you can take care of yourself, do whatever you need to do to be proactive.
I'm glad you said those particular things, Julie, because what I didn't realize was it's very common for African Americans to be vitamin D3 deficient, extremely, even with the melatonin in the skin, even with the melatonin and taking the melatonin additional. Like, I didn't know that was something that's pretty much statistically across the board, and makes you susceptible to a lot more of these things, because some of these deficiencies are naturally in our system. So I think being aware and in tune with who you are to know, and then to be proactive and seek help. I think that is be prepared. You can't be prepared for everything, but be prepared and be proactive about it.
Absolutely. So I wanted to leave, since we're in that point of the year where we are transitioning to the holidays, and if you do suffer from SAD, first and foremost, I want to say we see you, we hear you, we understand that this is not easy what you're going through right now. So in terms of holidays, I found a list on BetterHelp, and we can put that in the bio. So don't be afraid to switch up tradition. Sometimes going through the motions can help wake you up a little bit. Don't set unrealistic expectations of others. Let people close to you know what's going on. That way they can empathize with you a little bit more and help you push through this difficult time. Allow other people to help is a big one. Don't play comparison game of holidays past. Make sure you're getting enough rest and be mindful of what you eat and connect with others. The holidays are a weird time for some people. Some people's it's a joyous time. So if you know someone who suffers from this, be mindful of what they're going through, support them through what they're going through, and encourage them to connect with you so that they are not struggling even just for a couple hours. So I want to thank you guys for coming to and listening to our Sunday Spotlight. If you have any questions, I'll put that BetterHelp link. We'll put that in the bio, and a little bit deeper of an explanation of what SAD is.
Cass, we missed something.
What do we miss?
We missed a special announcement, as one of our Supremes mentioned their fall birthday that just passed. Happy birthday virtually to our Supreme duels in the world.
The Queen.
No, yeah. So salute to the Queen.
You heard it
what's
here
up?
first, from Ebony's mouth to God's ears, as she would like to say. She called me the queen. I'm just wanna
Listen.
emphasize.
I will
Emphasize.
That is the best birthday gift you could get.
That's a limited title. It's a limited edition, and it will be given back and surrendered after we give her that salute to her birthday. So,
Happy birthday,
thank
Jules.
you.
We love and appreciate you.
Thank you, my Supremes.
We got to shout out because she works hard. And she bullies us a lot. So she made me say this. It
takes a lot of energy to be bullying this lady.
Listen, she made me say this, Virtual Supreme.
Yeah.
No, listen.
I typed it out for her. Gave her the
Listen, she did. It prompted on my screen. That's all I could say. No. So birthday blessings to our virtual fam. We love her dearly, and please take care of yourself in this time, guys. If you know this is where you are and this is something that you are experiencing, and everybody's lived experience is different, be proactive and seek help. It's out there, it's available. If you don't know, we'll have some resources in the description box, but please be proactive and be mindful.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.